Hey, welcome. Today we're going to talk about something really cool, taking back control. In a world dominated by huge social media platforms, what if you could actually build your very own, right from your house? Let's dive in and see how you can become the architect of your own little digital universe. I mean, really think about it for a second. When you're on any of the big platforms, you're basically a guest in someone else's house, right? They set the rules, they control all the data, and they can change the game whenever they feel like it. But does it really have to be that way? And that is the big idea we're chasing today. What if you were the one calling the shots? I'm not just talking about picking a theme color. I mean, really in charge, setting the rules of engagement, owning all of your community's data, and building the whole thing from the ground up. Okay, so how is this even possible? Well, it's all thanks to a project called Web4 at Home. You can think of it as a toolkit, really. It's a bunch of open source software and a guide that shows you exactly how to run a social network on your own hardware. We're talking no cloud, no big tech servers, just your network on your terms. And get this little guy is all you need to get the whole thing started. A Raspberry Pi. It's this tiny credit card-sized computer. You can find them for as little as 20 euros. And believe it or not, this is going to be the powerhouse for your entire independent social network. Pretty wild, right? All right, so we've got the hardware. Now how? Do we turn this little computer into a real working server? Well, the journey begins right here, by laying the foundation. We've got to get the Pi prepped with the right operating system. The Raspberry Pi Imager tool makes this part way easier than it sounds. First, you just tell it which Pi model you have. Then, you pick the light version of the operating system to keep things speedy. You set up a username and password, but here's the most critical part. You have to enable SSH. Let's talk about why that's so important. SSH, which stands for Secure Shell, is basically your magic wand. It's what lets you tuck that little Raspberry Pi away in a closet connected to power and the internet, and then do everything else from the comfort of your main computer. No extra monitor, no keyboard, nothing. It's super clean, and it's how we're going to build the rest of our server. So our Pi is on the network, and we can talk to it. Now it's time to give it a real job. We need to install the engine that's actually going to run our social network. For that, we need a web server called Apache, and we need the programming language that lets it think, which is PHP. And here you can really see the transformation happen. When you install Apache on the left, you get a basic web server. It works, but it's pretty simple. But then, when you add PHP, which you see on the right, you give that server a brain. All of a sudden, it can run dynamic, interactive software, which is exactly what a social network is. Okay, so check this out. We have a working server running on our home network. Awesome. But how do we let the rest of the world come and visit our new social network safely? Without just posting our home's public IP address for everyone to see. This is where things get really cool. We're going to use something called a Cloudflare tunnel. The best way to picture it is like this. Instead of putting a huge sign on your house with your address, you give everyone a key to a secret, super secure mailbox downtown. Cloudflare manages that mailbox and has a private encrypted tunnel that leads directly to your front door. It's amazing for security, and it keeps your home network completely private. But you knew it couldn't be that easy. The moment you try to lock things down for maximum security, you'll probably run into this, the dreaded bad gateway error. It's frustrating, but what it means is pretty simple. Using our mailbox analogy, it means your users can securely get to the mailbox, but the secret tunnel leading back to your house isn't properly locked on your end yet. We need to secure the whole path. And here's how we fix that. The whole goal is to make the entire path from the user to your server totally secure. There are just 4 steps. First, you enable encryption on your server itself. Second, you get a free, unique security certificate from Cloudflare. Think of it as a special key. Third, you tell your server how to use that key. And finally, you go back to Cloudflare and tell it to only accept a connection that uses that key. It's like putting matching high-security locks on both ends of the tunnel. And this right here, this is the final game-changing click. Setting the encryption mode to full, strict, is you telling Cloudflare, hey, no compromises. It forces the connection to use that trusted certificate we just installed on our server.
And the second you do that, you have a fully encrypted end-to-end connection. And that annoying bad gateway error is just gone.
All right, let's take a second here. Our server is prepped, it's powered up, it's securely connected to the internet. Honestly, all the hard work is done. So now it's time for the absolute best part, installing the actual social network software and finally going live. And I just have to share this quote from the project's documentation because it really puts things in perspective. It says that once you've done all that, you've completed 99% of setting up your own social network. All that complex server and security stuff, that was the real work. This last part is surprisingly simple. It literally comes down to this one single command: git clone. That one line of text tells your server, hey, go to GitHub, copy all the code for the Web4 Lite social network, and download it right here. And just like that, boom, you're live. Your social network is officially on the internet. So let's just zoom out for a minute and think about what you've actually built here. This isn't just a server with some software on it. You've created your very own, totally independent piece of the internet, a digital space where you and only you are in charge. So here's the bottom line. The whole thing is designed to be simple, with guides to walk you through it. It's incredibly cheap, running on hardware that costs less than a video game. But the most important part is the independence it gives you. You're not relying on anyone else. You control the hardware, so you control the data. And you get to set the rules. You moderate your own community, your way. And that really brings us to the final, most important question. Now that you know this is possible, if you had this kind of total control to create a bespoke online community from scratch, what would you build? A private network just for your family and friends? A forum for your favorite hobby? A brand new space for artists to collaborate? The tools are here. The rest is completely up to you.